welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us again. So if you saw my last video, I said I was completely done taking the car apart and I was actually at the point where I could start putting it together. Turns out that was a complete lie. So also in that video, I pointed out that I was still running the power steering. I've gone ahead and started ditching that immediately. I talked to Pete today, told him I was still running power steering. He had a bit of a fit and said, "What are you doing? You could lose about 30 pounds off the nose of the car by switching to manual." I talked to him a little bit about what I wanted to do. I was talking about a 16:1 ratio. He said, no, I got something way better for you. Pull your steering column out, get up here, and we'll start doing a swap right now. So as you can see, steering column is completely apart right now. Splash, so we're just doing a little bit of a paint job on it. Pete's over here doing a shaft swap. Oh, he's over at the Dart now, which is up and running now. Guys here buffing it. Hellcat's up there. And then some people are asking about this too, the drop top 408 CUDA. That project is still going on. Take you over to the bench here. So this is the manual box Pete had. He had a whole bunch of these guys kicking around and he told me this is the shit. This is a 20:1 ratio. Stock ratio is 24. A lot of guys go to a 16:1, but he said that's not great on the street. He knows this car is dual purpose. He said these 20:1 are the way to go. Apparently it's like a NASCAR type option. Went through his pile of shafts. I'm trading him my power steering shaft for a manual shaft, so he's getting the coupler swapped over. He's got a coupler here that's going to work with this guy, and it's out of course, a 68 Hemi Charger. Awesome. So we're full pull on doing the manual steering conversion right now. And he hooked me up with a couple different pitman arms to take home and try in the car after I get the box in. A couple things change year to year, so we're not too sure what I have. So he gave me a couple to try. And then the shafts here getting swapped over. This is one that he had that we were using to check length with. This is out of a 69 CUDA 383 manual steering car. And then we found this one up in his rafters of a bunch of different stuff. This one will be the one that I'll be using. We're just using this one to check for length. Okay, so we actually nailed down pitman arm selection. This is going to be the guy. What we did actually, we just put the CUDA up in the air and compared because it'll be the same as my Dart. And then we got the right size hole here. So this is the winner. Okay, so it looks like our day is kind of coming to a close here. We got hung up by actually paint. So we were trying to paint all the steering column and everything and we ran out of paint. So we're shutting her down for the day, but I'll show you guys some stuff here. So Pete got the whole shaft assembly together, including the coupler. Oh, I gotta put that in the truck before I go so I can start mocking that up. But I thought I'd just walk around the shop with Pete here. And a couple of people asked about the drop top CUDA, the Hemi Darts back there. We'll talk a little bit about that, but there's another video coming and he's got a couple motors we're gonna see on the dyno later. But Pete, just wanna walk us through the drop top CUDA real quick?
Yeah, so CUDA's progressing nicely. We had to convert to a 3-speed wiper motor and setup due to the fact that with the Elbrock ProFlow 4 dual sync distributor, it sits taller, and we ran into issues with clearance between the wiper motor and the distributor tower. So at the end of the day, we had to convert to a 3-speed motor and modify the bottom of it a little bit to clear, and it just clears, but that was the latest challenge to make the ProFlow 4 setup work.
Nice. So that's a stroke 408 trick flow head, solid roller cam, ProFlow
4.
ProFlow
595 horse, 570 torque.
There you go.
It'll go real nice with a 6-speed T56 Magnum transmission.
Right, which is already stabbed into this guy. There you go. Pretty cool build.
Next big step will be to get the convertible top installed and fitted, and then we're thinking of putting a cage in the car.
Oh yeah, just the style bar kind of thing?
Yeah, we want to have a little bit of more structural integrity and also some safety. So
nice. Cool. Okay, and then we were talking about maybe popping back onto the dyno in the near future.
Yeah,
check out this.
Here we have a 440 that I just finished up. This is a relatively mild 440, but with some interesting cylinder heads. There are 440 sorts that have been CNC'd, which we weren't really happy with the flow numbers on, but then we did a valve job and a little bit of work on the flow bench. And now we have these heads going in a 320 proximity, which is pretty good for,
nice.
For this style of head. We like these heads because they appear stock looking.
Stock appearing, but CNC'd.
CNC, and they flow like 320 CFM.
Excellent.
Which is probably about 100 more than a stock 440 head would flow.
Cool.
So solid mechanical 528, relatively mild street motor. Target horsepower in the 550 proximity. We're using a Hughes 1.6 rocker on it. Try and make up for some of that lift that we're going to lose with the valve lash in place. So yeah, we measured 530 lift. It displaces 446. We're 10.47 to 1. We'll see what the dyno reveals.
Anticipated horsepower?
Yeah, we're knocking in around 550-ish. Now, intake-wise, I haven't made the final decision. We've got to do some port matching and take advantage of these CNC ports. There's a strip dominator that I have on a car that I'm probably going to pull off and try, just to keep the low profile. We're also going to try the Victor, and we'll may end up putting a 6-pack on it.
Stuff to play with.
To be seen. Yeah.
Cool. What about the W2 small block?
W2, that's a little more interesting proposition here. We put a lot of effort into these cylinder heads. They're cast iron riser head. The flow numbers are through the roof. Let me get a quick shot of the port here, Joe. Probably a little light.
So nice healthy ports there on those W2s.
And the runner is a 215 cc in volume, but the flow numbers are 340 at 700. So this head is just kicking butt.
That's awesome.
Air is going to flow through there at a very high rate of speed, and we're anticipating this motor will be north of 600 horsepower. Again, the dyno will tell the story.
Awesome. Okay, so next day, guys, we got some paint. Pete's already started putting the whole steering column back together. That's that new shaft longer for our manual steering conversion. Looks like the wheels getting touched up, but she's coming together. Looking good, too. Okay, there she is, all back together, ready to get stabbed back into the dart with the new box. Hey, Pete, thanks for the shaft, buddy. Okay guys, we're back home now and just back working on the car. Now we can go ahead and remove my power steering box plus the pump, and we're actually going to weigh it all. We're going to do a comparison of the weight of this versus the manual conversion. That's the whole deal here, is to get the weight off the nose. I heard it's like 35 pounds, so stoked for that. You can see that's where the steering column will be going back in, and we'll be using our new pitman arm down there. But yeah, just a couple bolts on there and we can haul this unit out of there. Say goodbye. Probably gonna have to do more paint back there. Always with the painting. So I guess I should explain how I'm gonna put this all back together. I didn't film it coming apart, so I'll bring you up to speed on that. So when I parked the car, the wheels were straight and the steering wheel was straight. So as I take everything apart, I'm just gonna put everything back in to line it all back up straight again. So the steering box itself, I'll find center on the input spline, I guess is what it is, from the steering column. So if I find center on that, bolt that in place. The pitman arm is master spline, so it'll only go in one way, and then it should line up the same way the current one is in. And then I should be able to slide the steering column with the steering wheel straight right onto the steering box, and then everything should keep straight, and my wheel alignment should be good in relation to my wheels. And if it's out a tiny bit, I can adjust it on the tie rods just by doing equal sides. So that is my plan. I think it's gonna work. Okay, pulled the pump off because it really wasn't wanting to come out as a unit. A little easier now, so let's get that out of there. Okay, after fighting with that for entirely too long, I realized I kind of need an extra helping hand. Got my buddy here to give me a lift, and then got a pickle fork in there and popped that sucker free. So she's coming out now. Okay, there she is, all out now and down here, and that thing weighs a friggin' ton. Man, this is definitely going to be a big improvement. So finally things can go back in after we weigh it. 39.2 plus 12.2. Okay, so power steering 39.2, 12.2, 51.4 versus Oh my god. 13.8. So power steering turned out to be 51.4 pounds. Manual steering, 31.8. A difference of 37.6. 38 pounds right off the nose. Okay guys, here we are the next day. You can see I actually went ahead, I did a bunch of paint work back there last night, so let that dry up overnight, and now I have my new manual box just in place with a couple bolts, and I was just doing this to make sure I could line up the pitman arm with where it's supposed to be using those master splines underneath. So I got that guy clocked on center and center of travel, and oh, check this out, here's my buddy Robbie. Looking good, boys. My buddy Robbie just pulled up in his Mach 1. He just got the stripes done on it. Car's looking sick. Right on. Okay, so back to the steering conversion. So yeah, that guy is centered of travel, and then that's lined up on the master splines in correlation with that. That'll just push in, and then I click it in. So I can just wind that nut in and secure the pitman arm now to the box. Okay, pitman arm is secure now. Should be able to drop it in there and then bolt her up. And I did reclock my center on that guy. So once it's in, the column should be able to go with the wheel straight and we should be all good. Yep, let's drop her in. Okay, so that all went in fairly simply. Everything bolted up just like it should. It pulled the steering back in line where it should be. Everything went good. Pete did say to torque these bolts to 80 foot-pounds, so we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so that whole section went fairly easily. It was a lot easier to put the new one in than it was to get the old one out. Usually it's the other way around. So stoked that that went so great. Now we're ready to start dropping in the steering column. Okay, so we got the column in, lined up on the spline. I did have to open up the roll pin hole on the input for the box. Pete told me I would have to do that, and I did. I had Natalie sit in the car and keep the wheel straight when we put it in. So now the wheel is in there just loose straight. I got to put the bracketry all back together, but it's looking pretty good. Okay, so here we are again the next morning. I got everything completed kind of late last night, so I didn't do any filming last night. We got in kind of late, so I kind of started working on the car again a little later in the evening. So got it all buttoned up last night, so let's take a look at the final job. So there's our box and shaft all put in proper, and then I got my roll pin in. Of course, Pete was saying I should end up with about a ½ an inch to that hole, which looks perfect. I kind of marred it up a little, wiggling that guy around, touched that paint up. I didn't actually mention that I painted all of that after. I did because I like everything to kind of look black. I like the engine to really pop in there, so blacked all that out. But so much more room for headers now, and again, that weight savings is critical. My paint looks decent back there too, so that's gonna look really good once that engine goes back in there. Let's look inside the car, and then we'll see that steering wheel combo. So there's the wheel all back in place. I got my tack all in. I got my two-step button back in, so that is tight, squared away. So that wheel should be decently centered, and like I was saying before, if I gotta adjust the tie rod ends to straighten it a bit more, that'll be okay, but that should be good. I'm pretty stoked on that, and under the dash looks really nice now too, even though no one will ever see that, but cockpit is looking pretty awesome. Digging that vibe. So that is going to close out this video. Thank you guys again for watching. Pretty stoked on this whole combination. This was a decent weekend job. 38 pounds out the nose, better feel on the road and at the strip, of course. I did find the power steering just felt too easy to move. I hear that a lot from guys. And this 20-to-1 ratio box should be awesome on both street and strip. So I do keep saying that we got the stroker motor coming, and it is coming. Side note, if you've been following along with that, we have switched. We're going back to the girdle. We actually got one in with ARP hardware. So the machine shop has everything they need. That should be up real soon. I got parts in the mail. I got a brand new 950 Holley carb coming, should be here this week. So that'll probably be the next video. Stay tuned, lots more coming. Thanks for watching, guys.